Have you ever heard of a shark known to survive up to 400 years in cold Arctic waters? No? Did you know that this species of shark, Greenland shark, ranks in the top 10 of largest sharks on Earth? Still no? If you're still here, we're here to provide you with more details and facts on the Greenland shark that may blow your minds. Take a seat and relax while you enjoy this short video of this particular organism navigate through the ocean before learning so much more.
Researchers have found an ancient shark in the North Atlantic, believed to be 512 years old, which could be the oldest living vertebrate in the world. Greenland sharks are relatively ugly and bizarre looking creatures. It has a long, thick grey body, and its small head consists of a short, rounded snout, with ghostly eyes and an ever-gaping mouth. The species is often plagued by worm-like parasites that latch onto their eyes. Marine biologist Julius Nielsen and his team have been studying an 18-foot Greenland shark. They believe it's at least 272 years old, and possibly as old as 512 years. Greenland sharks have been known to live for hundreds of years and spend most of their lives swimming around looking for a mate. But the recent research proves that this species of shark could live to be even older. Researchers are looking into how Greenland sharks' long life genes could shed light on what determines life expectancy in different species, including humans. So how did this shark reach this age? Well, Greenland sharks are found in the deep water of the Atlantic Ocean, from Canada to Norway. The answer likely has to do with a very slow metabolism and the cold waters that they inhabit. The method to discover the age of the animal was determined last year. Researchers found a way to predict age by analysing the lens and cornea of the eye, which they believe links size with age. Greenland sharks, also known as gurry sharks or grey sharks, grow at a rate of 1 centimetre a year, enabling scientists to determine their age by measuring their size. This particular shark was measured at 18 feet in length and weighed over a ton. By measuring the size of the shark, researchers suggest the animal could have been born as early as 1505, making it even older than Shakespeare. With an estimated age of 512 years old, that makes this creature extraordinary, and it should be considered among the absolute oldest animals in the world. I'm going to put a list of historical events that happened over the last 512 years in the Show More section of this video that this shark was alive for. Saying an age of 512 years old does not really sink in until you realise it was alive when European settlers arrived on the American mainland of Panama in 1508.
Alright, now we're going to get into the anatomy of the Greenland shark. So reaching lengths upwards of 6.5 meters and on average being 5 meters, the Greenland shark is one of the largest known existing sharks. It is characterized by its extremely large and long body, a short round snout, and small eyes. The Greenland shark has 2 sets of teeth, a bottom and top row. The upper teeth are very thin and range in number from about 48 to 52. The lower teeth are more broad and square and range between 50 to 52. The denticles of the Greenland shark are uniform across its entire body. These denticles are cone-shaped and curved towards the rear end of the shark. The Greenland shark is also the slowest shark known, as they swim at about 0.3 meters per second. Greenland sharks occur at higher latitudes than all known species of shark. They also experience some of the coldest water temperatures on the planet. This could be as low as negative 1.8 degrees Celsius. The Greenland shark has very low energetic needs. They also have slow metabolisms and consume very large meals. All of this facilitates their life in resource-scarce environments in the Arctic waters where they reside.
As you have learned, Greenland sharks are one of the oldest living species of vertebrate on the planet. The oldest shark recorded was aged between 272 and 512 years old. So why the range? Well, unlike with most animals, scientists are unable to age sharks from their bones. This is because their bones are cartilage and therefore do not fossilize easily. What scientists can do is measure and date the radiocarbon fibers present in the shark's eye. These radiocarbon fibers are what was dated 272 to 525 years back. The evolutionary trade-offs for the Greenland shark started 400 million years ago. These sharks are bottom dwellers, cruising at a depth of 0 to 15,000 meters, depending on how deep the waters surrounding them are. Most do stay at the deeper depths and have traded off their eyesight to be almost completely blind. These sharks, being the longest lived, also come with a trade-off. They grow to enormous sizes, but must do so at an extremely slow rate to be able to live so long. These sharks grow at a pace of 1 centimeter per year. They are also slow movers. The Greenland shark moves at a normal steady pace of 0.76 miles per hour, though it can reach a max of 1.6 miles per hour in short bursts to catch prey. The following video will give you even more evolutionary facts about the species.
You've probably never heard of Greenland sharks before, but they're a pretty incredible species. Today, we're going to talk about how they can live for over 500 years. First, some general facts about Greenland sharks. They're similar in size to the famous great white sharks. Greenland sharks are typically 6 to 13 feet long, but they can be over 20 feet long and weigh over 2,000 pounds. They live in the Arctic and North Atlantic Ocean, and they primarily eat fish, small sharks, birds, and carrion. They are scavengers, and polar bears, horses, moose, reindeer, and seals have been found in their stomachs. They're not dangerous to humans, except their meat is toxic. More on that later. Greenland sharks are the longest living vertebrates on Earth. It's really difficult to determine the age of Greenland sharks. Usually, scientists measure sharks' ages by counting the growth rings of hard tissue. However, Greenland sharks only have soft tissue. Instead, scientists use lens crystallins to figure out their ages. Lens crystallins are proteins in the eye that are formed before birth, and they stay the same for the rest of the organism's life. Lens crystallins contain carbon-14, which is a radioactive isotope. Basically, scientists were able to carbon date proteins in the shark's eyes. In the study, researchers carbon dated the lens crystallins of 28 sharks. They measured the radiocarbon levels in the lens crystallins and used a model to estimate the shark's age. In the 1960s, there was lots of nuclear weapons testing, releasing radioactive material into the world, so they could use the 1960s as a benchmark to figure out when the sharks were born. The largest and oldest shark was 16.5 feet long and approximately 392 years old. The age is an estimate, and the shark's actual age could vary by about 120 years, but it shows how these sharks can survive for several hundred years. So, how are Greenland sharks able to survive for so long? The answer isn't known for sure, but there are several theories. First, they live in really cold water of around 30 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit. They also live deep in the ocean and can survive at depths of over 7,000 feet. It's believed that the cold water allows them to age more slowly. It takes Greenland sharks 150 years to reach sexual maturity, and they grow less than 1 centimeter per year. Their hearts beat once every 12 seconds on average, which may allow their hearts to last for hundreds of years. Also, Greenland sharks are believed to have a low metabolic rate. They are sleeper sharks, and they typically swim around 3/4 of a mile per hour, with a max speed of around 2.5 miles per hour. Most sharks would consider this a pretty slow pace. For comparison, most shark species have an average speed of 5 to 8 miles per hour and a max speed in the double digits.
Lastly, we'll talk about the diet of the Greenland shark and where they can be found. Greenland sharks, an ectothermic organism, are primarily found year-round in colder environments, such as the Arctic Ocean and the North Atlantic. They are known to live deep in fjords and aren't typically seen at the surface of the water. While they are primarily scavengers, they aren't picky when it comes to food. They will eat anything they come across, such as the following: fish and squid, and even polar bears, reindeer, and horses have been found in their stomach contents, leading some to believe that they are opportunistic hunters. They also have parasites, some suggesting they have a mutually beneficial relationship, that tend to live on their eyes. The reason they might be mutually beneficial is that these parasites tend to be bioluminescent, attracting potential prey to the shark. They are able to survive these frigid temperatures with the help of the high levels of trimethylamine, N-oxide, and urea in their tissues. These chemical compounds act as antifreeze in their tissues
that aid in preventing internal formation of ice crystals and aids in stabilizing their proteins. I hope you've learned a great deal on this organism and found it as fascinating as we did.